Welcome back to MMA Unhinged. And joining me today is Adam Assenza, the BTC lightweight champion. Adam, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm great, but this is about you here. How are you feeling? We're just about just less than a month out from your fight.
I'm feeling great. I like to stay active. I like to fight often. So, I'm always in the gym training. So, just another day.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. How's training camp so far?
Training camp's great. We got a lot of, good guys in the area. And, a lot of guys travel in and, I'll travel out. And if I need to get some looks somewhere else, and everything's going perfect.
Great. And my understanding, you train over at Burlington Training Center. I got to see a post. You had the chance to train with Islam Makhachev. How was that experience? And can you kind of talk about how that happened? Like, did he reach out to your camp, or did you reach out to his? How did that vice versa? How did that work?
Basically, how it worked was we have a sponsor in common, so to speak. So, they needed a spot to train. And, typically when Islam will go train somewhere, they'll rent the gym out. So I wasn't sure that it was him. At first I thought it was the heavyweight UFC champion because somebody had made a mistake on that. And then I guess the morning of, they're like, "Oh, do you have any 55ers? Because our guy wants to train with them." And I'm thinking, I thought it was the heavyweight. So it turned out to be Islam. And then we want to get some sparring in, and he showed me some great stuff on the ground, and it was definitely a great experience. Super nice guy, full of knowledge, and his team's great as well.
And I don't know how many people you train with that when there might be a language barrier, but how was it like to train with someone that might not know a whole lot of English?
His English is good, man. He does not he didn't talk a whole lot, but anything that he needed to say, he was totally fine. And we were talking in between sparring rounds and stuff, and it was totally fine.
And did you get a chance to catch his fight against Volkanovski this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. He dominated.
And did you have any part in his camp, or was he just there to train with you? Or
No, he was just there to train, and it was actually like 2 or 3 days after my last fight. It was short notice, so just that was an opportunity that presented itself, and so I got to get some good work in, and it was fun.
Speaking about Alexander Volkanovski, his first fight when he lost against Islam, he talked about how to get better as a fighter, so you have to challenge yourself. So whether it's taking a challenging fight or challenging yourself with a high level training partner. So when you got a chance to train with someone like Islam Makhachev, do you feel like, of course, you're confident in your skill, but do you feel like that just made you even a better fighter, challenging yourself in that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be the best or high level in anything in life, you've got to challenge yourself, and that means putting yourself up against high level competition or whatever the situation may be. Getting the chance to train with him, like I was there in a second. The second that they needed somebody, and he wanted to spar. I'm like, perfect. I put my gloves on. I had like stitches in my eye from my fight like 2 days, 3 days prior. I didn't care. I put a piece of tape over it. Like I'm there in a second. So definitely, if you want to, um, get better, rise above in whatever respect you're in, whether it be business, sports, whatever, you want to go to the highest level and or the highest guy or whoever is at the top, and you want to be working with them. So
Absolutely. And what's the typical timeline for a fight camp for you?
I'm always in fight camp. There really isn't a fight camp. My whole year is a fight camp. I really don't take much time off unless I got like an injury or something like that. I don't take much downtime or time off. Like for me, fighting is a way of life. It's like the way I survive in the modern world. So I'm in the gym twice a day, training pretty much every day. I work in between. I have a few businesses and stuff like that I run, and I'm always down to train. I train even after a fight when I should be resting. I'm back training. So it's not. I'm always in training camp.
Complete respect for that. And talking about the announcement of your fight, BTC Fight Promotions, they made the announcement, not just your fight, but several other fighters as well. And it just seemed like this was just not too long ago. And I mean, we're less than a month out from your fight. So, did you have prior knowledge of this matchup coming up before they made the announcement?
No, I mean, they presented me with an opponent and I say yes. That's normally how it goes, whether I'm fighting for BTC or if I'm fighting in the States or wherever. So, they presented the opponent and, you know, he's a tough guy and he's got a lot of experience. He's fought on a lot of big shows. So I said yes. And that's what happened.
Yeah, and let's talk about your opponent, Nate Williams, BTC 22, November 18th. Obviously, you've been in a title fight before, but since 2018, you've this is the first time you're defending your belt again since 2018. Is there really any nerves that go through it? And if there is, how do you combat that?
I mean, for me, like, I always just try to put as much pressure on myself as I can. So, like, I to me it's just a fight, right? But I mean, like, if they want to make it for the title again and I'm defending it, perfect. And then like let's add another title in there. Like I'll try to put as much pressure on myself as I can because I always perform under those circumstances. So for me, nothing's different. Like no matter even if I'm fighting somewhere else, not for a title, regular 3 round fight, like I'm always just trying to, make it the most highest pressure situation that I could possibly be in because I perform under pressure. That's the type of guy that I am. I bring it every single fight. And that's when you get my most exciting fights and some of my best performances.
And many of your fights have you've been fortunate that many of your fights have been in the Burlington area or the GTA area. Mind you, you've had some outside that area, of course, but mainly a lot of them have been there. So, how fortunate are you to be able to fight in your home crowd and be able to represent your home crowd in that aspect?
I'm extremely grateful to be able to fight at home, have my home crowd there riding with me and supporting me. And I just love putting on a show. I love, hyping the crowd up. It's just, it's a feeling I can't explain. And I'm very fortunate and just grateful to be able to do that often.
And I mean, you've been with BTC for a long time, a lot of your career. So, what's can you describe the relationship that you've had with BTC and the people who run it?
Yeah. I mean, I've been fighting for a long time and I've fought for a lot of different promotions and they treat their fighters phenomenally. I mean, they try to get you good matchups, respectable matchups. They put on fantastic cards, and again, it's local. So I mean, like, why wouldn't I fight for them? They're the number one promotion, in my opinion, pretty much in Canada with how many shows they've been doing in Ontario, and yeah, it just makes sense.
Yeah, and this is gonna be a really big card. So, talking about your fight, what is it about your opponent? What's your thoughts about your opponent, and why are you going to be the one that's going to be victorious on that night?
Yeah, my opponent, he's a great athlete. He's got great striking. He's got phenomenal wrestling. I just feel like, on fight night, when my skills match up against his, mine will put me out on top. So, that's as simple as it's gonna be.
And kind of take me through that fight. How do you, without spoiling your game plan, but how do you kind of see that fight kind of breaking down?
I mean, for me, I don't really have game plans. I just get in there and let it hang. But I'm always going for the finish. So I always predict that I'm gonna finish.
And should you defend your title on November 18th, what do you feel is next for you? What kind of contract do you have with BTC? And do you feel like maybe you're ready to look beyond BTC, or are you content with where you are at the moment?
Yeah, on November 18th, I'm gonna finish my fight. Keep my title, and then I know UFC's coming to January or in January to Toronto. So if they need a short notice 55er, I'm definitely their guy.
And I mean, talking about the card, how exciting it is to kind of see Canadian MMA really grow. I mean, with the UFC 297 in Toronto, we have so many great Canadian talent on there, and it seems like there's been this reemergence in the Canadian MMA lately. Would you concur with that?
Absolutely. I feel as though, you know, Canadians and Canada have been getting missed and not on purpose. I just think like with a whole, how things have gone regarding from, back from COVID and so on and so forth the last few years. And just even, some of the things that are going on in Canada and politics, whatever you want to call it. We haven't really gotten the the attention that we deserve, and we're getting it now. So you're going to see a lot of great things happen, a lot of great matchups, and I'm definitely excited for the January card. And hopefully they got a spot for me on there.
Excellent. And I was talking with Jesse Ronson earlier today, and I asked him about there's so much talent that comes from Ontario, and it's great to kind of train with everyone. You get to know everyone, but he talked about how that could be very difficult for even a promotion like BTC to make those matchups because you don't want people fighting each other people that you've trained with. Or has that ever been an issue for you with the matchmaking?
Not really, no. I mean, I'm at the point in my career though where they kind of have to get me a high level guy and fly him in because like who else am I going to fight around here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't really make sense. But for these homegrown organizations, it's difficult because home versus home is where you make your money. When you're flying somebody in, paying for his corners to fly in, putting them up in a hotel, so on and so forth, it costs a lot, right? So if you're doing that for your
Mhm.
guys, they better be making you money via tickets or what have you that you can refund that. And when you have a card of like 13, 14 fights, you can't be flying in 14 guys. It just doesn't make sense. It works against you, right? So the homegrown versus homegrown is kind of what sustains the card, and then you have your top end guys towards the end, right? So I feel what Jesse's saying, and that's the difficult part, right? But it's part of the sport.
100%. And back to you here. I mean, 2023, you captured the title, and now you have a chance to defend it. And if you do win on November 18th, again, I mean, I know you talked about the possibility of the UFC card in January, but what's in store for the Maverick in 2024?
You know, for me, I'm always looking to, get on the biggest cards, get big fights, fights that excite me. And right now, November 18th is the only thing I care about. So after I beat him, then we'll look at 2024.
Excellent. And what's the story behind your nickname?
Um, so a promoter that I fought for in the States years ago, I don't even know how it came about, but he was like making fun of me because I was like, I think it was like maybe my second or first or second fight. I think it was even amateur or something like that. And he was talking how he's like, man, you look so skinny. Let's go to 45, which it would be nice if I could make that weight, but I would never be able to make that realistically. And I don't know, he called me like a maverick or something like that. And then other people caught on to it that were around me at the time. And I kind of, heard it going on for a while. And why the hell are you calling me Maverick? Like, where'd that come from? And he's like, oh, you got a baby face like Tom Cruise. And that's literally how it was. And then it kind of grew on me over time. And then, everybody would just be like, call me Mav for short. And it just kind of stuck. That's where it came from though.
And did you have any nicknames prior to that?
No, that's it.
That's quite the story. And man, I've watched you fight many times, and I mean, you're always in great fight shape. You're always looking good. What kind of cut do you have, and what is your like kind of go-to cheat meal after every fight? And do you have anything planned for this fight as well?
I don't really cut much weight, like I'm not a big 55er. So for me, the weight cut's pretty easy, like it's just basic, like, 7 to 10 pounds that I usually cut. So it's nothing crazy at all, easy to make. And I'm a pizza guy. So after my fight, after I'm chilling, if I'm gonna go for a cheat meal, I'm going for a good pizza somewhere.
Excellent, excellent. And man, I just want to thank you again for taking the time. I apologize. I know we were a little off there, but I do appreciate you taking the time for coming on here and talking a little bit about your fight. And MMA Unhinged would love to have you back the next time you have a fight going on. And just good luck on November 18th.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for having me on. Sorry about the mix up today, and have a great day.
Yeah, you too. And now that I'm not gonna have this is all cut out here, I just wanted to say on a personal level, no worries about today. Things happen. And I actually managed. I wanted to interview you back in I think when you fought in London, not last year but the year before. and I didn't get the chance. It was just a big mix up, and I guess the RBC London Center, it just everything wasn't done right. I couldn't
Oh
get half
no.
the fighters, so
Yeah.
it's just a pleasure being able to chat with you now.
Hey, it's a pleasure being on, man. I've definitely seen your work, and I want to definitely jump in as many interviews as I can. And I know you're trying to get your page going, and again bring more exposure to the sport for us, which helps us Ontario guys, which is amazing. So whatever you need, man, just reach out. And I got a crazy schedule like today. Like I mean, I had it locked in. I even had a timer go off that we were gonna get on for like 3, and then something came up with work, and I was like, I don't even know. I don't even know. I completely forgot about it.
No, no worries, man. I mean, life's going crazy for me too. I got my other. I just got a full time job. Got my full time job. I got the house working on, and then I got my training, and then I got the MMA Unhinged that I'm working for. So I'm kind of glad I don't do all the top heavy work. I really just do the interviews, and I just kind of send off whatever, and I kind of help out with the social media a little bit, but
Right.
that's about it. So I'm kind of happy I don't have to do that crap anymore because it's too much work. So
Yeah.
I again, like I said, I appreciate man. And again, good luck and the best to you. And we'll, like I said, we'll talk again soon, man.
Thanks, brother. Have a great day.
All
Okay.
right.